It's been nearly a decade since we bade farewell to the team at Dunder Mifflin, but we'll never stop loving the cast. In fact, we demand a reunion. And by the looks of things, we're not the only ones, because these actors miss each other so much, they're still finding ways to work together. We're about to prove that the only thing better than nostalgia is an unofficial Office revival. Steve Carell as Michael Scott. When Michael Scott left Dunder Mifflin in 2011, fans were shook. But while we mourned his exit, Steve Carell didn't have time to be upset because his career seriously took off. After his last day at the office, the actor earned an Oscar nomination, 2 Golden Globe nominations, and dozens of Critics' Choice Awards. And that was just in the first 7 years, when he starred in Foxcatcher, The Big Short, Battle of the Sexes, and Crazy Stupid Love. He didn't even stop for a breath. Next came starring roles in some indie films, and his first time as a co-creator and executive producer in 2020's Space Force. Impressive as all that is, Steve's just getting started. The dad of 2 has come full circle by returning to television. These days, you'll see him alongside Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon in Apple TV's The Morning Show. Not only that, but his schedule is pretty much fully booked for the next year. In addition to voicing Gru in the next installment of Minions, he's working on a series called The Patient. So he probably wouldn't have time for something like a reunion, right? Wrong. Steve is totally up for an Office reunion special, as long as it meets his very specific requirement.
You know what I thought would be a great idea for The Office? Not reboot The Office, but take The Office cast and reboot Cheers.
Hasn't anyone told him that identity theft is no joke? And speaking about that, Rainn Wilson as Dwight Schrute. No one was more devastated to say goodbye to Dwight Schrute than Rainn Wilson, especially because, for one glorious moment, he thought he wouldn't have to. You see, he nearly got a spin-off starring Dwight called The Farm. It makes sense as the only cast member to have appeared in every single episode of the series, but remained a total mystery. His story was perfect. Only, the network execs didn't want to bite the beat. So we didn't get to either. But it worked out for the best, because Rainn has been uber busy with 1,000 other things. He starred in a bunch of films and shows before lending his voice to a few animated projects. And while he has some epic projects still lined up, including starring in Amazon's upcoming show, The Power, and 2 more films, he has also written a memoir and has time for activism.
And in my hand, I am holding a melted iceberg. Yes, that's right. Glacier water is inside this bottle. Why am I doing that? Because the Arctic sea ice is melting.
But most importantly, he keeps in touch with his Dunder Mifflin family. Whether it's trolling his former co-stars or inviting them to his Soul Pancake podcast, Rainn stayed close to the whole cast, but still has a special place for Michael Scott.
What is it about a beard and a pandemic that just goes hand in hand? What is it?
You just have to do it.
Right?
It's the equivalent of it's sweatpants for your face.
But he didn't just chat to a few of his former colleagues during quarantine. Like us, Rainn's heart never left Scranton, and he recently opened up about how he thought Dwight would survive the pandemic.
I think Dwight would be handling quarantine by preparing for the apocalypse, as we all should be. Probably safe rooms and ammo and canned goods.
Of course, he's not the only one serving up a little Dunder Mifflin nostalgia. Brian Baumgartner as Kevin Malone. After The Office, Brian appeared in hits like Hot in Cleveland, Melissa and Joey, Chicago Fire, Scream Queens, and Life in Pieces, before portraying a dodgy band manager in Electric Jesus. Now, before you ask why he's stuck to supporting roles, there are 2 good reasons. First is love. After marrying Celeste Ackelson in 2014, he took a little time off to enjoy being a husband and father to 2 kids before coming back with a bang. His first project after being a full-time family man was to get back together with his other family for something very special. Ladies and gentlemen, The Princess Bride.
He has very good arms.
He didn't fall? Inconceivable!
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
But that wasn't his only collab with his former co-stars. Now, as promised, here's the second reason for Brian only taking small roles. He's become a writer, and it's all thanks to The Office. In addition to a podcast called An Oral History of The Office, this actor has just published the ultimate guide on all things Dunder Mifflin. Brian recounts his own experiences on the show, with amazing behind-the-scenes facts and even interviews and insights from his Office colleagues. So if you thought that you were the ultimate Office superfan, your place has just been taken by the guy who dropped the chili. Now here's a treat for you. Brian isn't the only cast member to be a superfan. It turns out that's a hotly contested title with a lot of competition. First up, his on-screen nemesis. Angela Kinsey as Angela Martin. This little cat lover is full of surprises. Not only is Angela actually nice in real life, but she loves her former coworkers so much, she's reunited with almost all of them. Since leaving the cutthroat world of paper accounting, this actress has appeared in more than just The Princess Bride short. She's been in so much, including the award-winning Netflix show Never Have I Ever, which was created by another Office alum, Mindy Kaling. But Mindy isn't the only lady from The Office that Angela has reconnected with. She's also guest starred alongside Jenna Fisher in the show Splitting Up Together, but more on that in a second. First, we need to mention another of the actress's very important relationships. In 2016, Angela married actor and chef Joshua Schneider, and they must have decided to try and conquer the culinary world too, because they have a website and cooking show. So does that mean she's forgotten about her on-screen love story with Dwight? Not at all. While Rainn Wilson thinks Schrute Farm during quarantine would look like something from an apocalypse movie, Angela has another idea which makes that image even scarier. The actress told People, "I think I've had 6 more Schrutes. I feel like Dwight and I are raising a small army of Schrutes." Can you imagine a Schrute army during quarantine? Oh my. But there's another partnership we're more interested in, because it was totally unexpected. Jenna Fisher as Pam Beesley. Pam and Jim's on-screen relationship had fans swooning and feeling all the emotions, and the actress was right there with them. She recently admitted that she had no doubt the relationship was meant to last. In fact, last year she told People, "I am positive that Pam and Jim are doing very well, and Cece and Philip are growing up into fine little people." But her off-screen relationships are even more surprising. Jenna Fisher's real BFF is none other than Angela Kinsey. While Jenna was busy with a bunch of film and television series after The Office, including 2 seasons of Splitting Up Together, she and Angela were actually working on something far more important. A podcast about all the behind-the-scenes info at The Office. And fans loved it. In fact, it's so popular that it won an award. And they've started selling merch. But for fans of The Office, it still wasn't enough. And so these ladies have given us another gift. Some fine literature. The writing bug definitely bit Jenna Fisher, because after publishing a memoir, she's back at it, this time with her bestie. Yep, they're co-authoring another Office book called Office BFFs, Tales of the Office from 2 best friends who were there. It promises to be epic because it's based on their personal diaries. As Jenna elaborated, we journaled all through The Office about everything, so we're able to go back and track the journey of both our friendship and of our time on the show. There's only one problem. We have to wait another year for it to be released. We can guess what you're wondering. Is the entire cast of The Office turning to writing? It seems so, especially if you ask this next lady. Mindy Kaling as Kelly Kapoor. Since leaving The Office, Mindy has become a true Hollywood heavyweight. She wrote, produced, and starred in 6 seasons of The Mindy Show, wrote 3 memoirs, voiced a bunch of animated characters, and had 2 kids. But all the while, she's been reconnecting with her former cast members like BJ Novak on The Mindy Show and Angela Kinsey on Never Have I Ever. She even teamed up with Phyllis for a little voice acting. Plus, she got a guest spot with Steve Carell and Reese Witherspoon in The Morning Show. And she's got another collab with Reese coming that we bet you are not ready for. Mindy Kaling will be writing Legally Blonde 3. The actress admitted, "I love the franchise so much. I love Elle Woods as a character, and when Reese asked me if I wanted to write it, I was like, absolutely." The excitement is real, but it's not just fans who are celebrating. Mindy's real-life BFF is totally rooting for her. BJ Novak as Ryan Howard. Mindy and BJ go way back, and despite their awkward on-screen relationship, off-screen, they're the best of friends, who never miss a chance to work together. Then again, with the sheer number of projects BJ is always juggling, there are very few people in Hollywood that he hasn't worked with yet. Aside from releasing 2 books, including a children's story, he worked with Paul Liebenstein on The Newsroom, in addition to starring in and producing the upcoming thriller Vengeance. He is the brains behind the anthology series The Premise, featuring a few very well-known faces. But one face was missing. John Krasinski as Jim Halpert. It's hard to believe that playing Jim was John's first ever role, because since then, he's taken over screens everywhere. But his proudest achievement was marrying his real-life soulmate, actress Emily Blunt. Since tying the knot in 2010, the couple have started on the best joint project, a family, after welcoming their 2 daughters. And he's been just as busy on screen. After a few mixed roles, he played a Navy SEAL in 2016 and became Amazon's Jack Ryan for 2 seasons. Of course, this required a lot of work in the gym. Then there's his work behind the camera. Not only is he one of the executive producers of Lip Sync Battle, but he's gone down in history as one of the show's best performers for this little number. The actor is now also a director and horror master with his 2 Quiet Place films. But all those roles seem to be about as far from Jim Halpert as can be. Does that mean John doesn't miss his days at Dunder Mifflin? Of course not. Just because he's been taking Hollywood by storm doesn't mean he's not still as crazy about The Office as we are. In fact, he had a truly amazing idea to celebrate the show's 15-year anniversary, which just happened to occur during the pandemic. He started some good news.
And on a personal note, this week actually brought a whole lot of good news because it marked 15 years since this haircut was born.
And his first guests were his former office colleagues.
Welcome to this highly produced show.
I like your sign.
Thank you very much. My daughters did it.
For his next project, he's joining the world of DC and going animated. That's right, he's on the cast of League of Super Pets, which is out next year. Now we just need to wait for what's next. Hopefully, it's an Office reunion special. For more info about The Office and its cast, check out these other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay awesome.